The real reason the muscle car era ended in the 70s. In the world of vehicles, muscle cars are like the VIPs in the field. Everyone knows and adores them. They made their debut in the 1960s and 70s, showcasing their incredible blend of power, speed, and style. However, the golden period of muscle cars ended in the 1970s, like all good things. At first, people thought muscle cars were just taking a break, and it was the reality. But in the 2000s, when the muscle cars made a comeback, the brand lost the original charm. Why did the muscle car era end in the 70s? Let's find out in today's video, and let's begin. The slick styling and roaring engines of the 1960s may come to mind when you think about muscle cars. Hang on, because the Oldsmobile Rocket 88 is where the narrative starts back in the late 1940s. In 1949, Oldsmobile's newest model, the Rocket 88, had the automobile world in a frenzy of anticipation. This vehicle was a game changer, not simply another average sedan. The Oldsmobile 76's lightweight design served as an inspiration for the Rocket 88, which was unlike anything else on the planet. An overhead valve V8 engine under the hood of this beast produced an incredible 135 horsepower and 263 pound-feet of torque. Yes, there was a ton of muscle in this car. With that much power, it could outpace other vehicles and reach a top speed of 97 miles per hour. Furthermore, you shouldn't worry if you need to get somewhere quickly. It can accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 13 seconds. The Rocket 88 was useful in addition to having an amazing performance. It was a family vehicle, not just a speed demon. With enough space for the entire group and an affordable price, it gained popularity among customers right away. This sleek and powerful machine was quickly taken off showroom floors by eager consumers who couldn't get enough of it. Now let's go back in time to the late 1940s when the Rocket 88 first appeared in racing. This automobile demonstrated its domination at the National Association of Stock Automobile Auto Racing, or NASCAR, in 1949 by winning an astounding 5 of 8 races. And who was it that was driving these wins? Well, who else but racing icon Robert Nold Red Byron, who used the Rocket 88's outstanding performance to win this maiden series championship. However, the Rocket 88 became a cultural sensation in addition to being a racetrack hit. It captivated the interest of auto fans worldwide with its svelte styling, potent engine, and reasonable pricing. It was more than simply a car. It was a representation of American inventiveness and ingenuity, a showcase for what could be accomplished with a little imagination and a lot of power. And even though other automakers would soon surpass the Rocket 88's genius, enthusiasts of muscle cars would always have a particular place in their hearts for it. Its legacy would endure, encouraging a new generation of auto experts to push the envelope and have huge dreams. The Oldsmobile Rocket 88 made waves in 1949 thanks to its potent engine and stylish appearance. Though it's sometimes referred to as the first muscle vehicle, that phrase wasn't truly used at the time. The phrase muscle car didn't take off until Pontiac made an appearance with their 64 GTO in the swinging 60s. When Pontiac announced their GTO as a muscle car, the moniker stayed. From that point on, a car was considered a muscle car if it had a powerful V8 engine and a stylish coupe body. Now, according to us, the muscle car's attraction lies in the 1964 Pontiac GTO. This vehicle changed the game in every way possible. It possessed the appropriate attitude, strength, and appearance. Beneath that fashionable facade was a powerful 6.5-liter V8 engine that produced an incredible 325 horsepower. That would be equivalent to being in charge of an entire herd of horses. It was also a bargain compared to other high-performance automobiles at the time, starting at just $3,200. The 1964 GTO created a stir when it was released to the public. Its powerful engine sound and svelte lines left onlookers spellbound. The demand was so great that Pontiac was unable to keep up with production. An amazing 32,450 GTOs were sold in the first year alone. The GTO was leading the way in what seemed to be a revolution in muscle cars. What, though, made the GTO so unique? It wasn't all about brute force. It also had to do with mindset. The rebellious and free spirit that typified the 1960s was personified by the GTO. It was an automobile for the youthful and the restless, for those who desire to defy convention and forge their route. It was also available to a whole new generation of of drivers due to its reasonable pricing. However, the 1964 GTO was more than just a craze. Rather, it was a trailblazer with a long-lasting impact. It gave other automakers the idea to follow suit and produce several strong high-performance cars that flooded the market. The GTO rose to prominence in American car culture as a representation of freedom, power, and speed. The 1964 Pontiac GTO is still remembered as a legend in the annals of automotive history. The modern muscle vehicles that continue to captivate the hearts and minds of auto enthusiasts worldwide are still bearing the mark of the impact. So remember the legacy of the 1964 GTO and the revolution it started the next time you see a sleek, potent muscle car racing up the road. The success of Pontiac's GTO was not overlooked. Other automakers were keen to follow suit and release their powerful vehicles onto the roads, and they certainly delivered. Several famous muscle cars that still make people's hearts race rose to fame in the swinging 60s. The Dodge Charger RT, Plymouth Roadrunner, Chevrolet Camaro SS, and Ford Mustang GT are the first cars in line. These vehicles were more than simply working machinery. They were future legends. They embodied coolness with their svelte shapes and potent engines. These muscle cars provided something for everyone, regardless of whether you were an avid driver or a speed demon on the racetrack. These bad boys had the muscle to match their showmanship. They could accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in an instant thanks to their lively powertrains, and they could achieve top speeds that would leave your head spinning. It makes sense that both auto experts and racers alike love them. However, the muscle car craze petered out as the 1960s gave way to the 1970s, and the classic car class declined as a result of rising gasoline prices, changing consumer tastes, and regulatory changes. An era of strength and speed came to an end with a melancholy note. But when we look back, muscle cars dominated the highways in the 60s because of their potent engines and stylish exteriors. However, as the 1970s approached, their hegemony began to wane. Are you wondering why? Well, there are many reasons for it. The U.S. government implemented new regulations in the early 70s to make automobiles less polluting, safer, and more fuel efficient. President Nixon's 1970 Clean Air Act was one of the most significant. To lessen air pollution, this law established emission requirements for automobiles. Manufacturers had to rework their muscle vehicles to comply, which reduced their power. And let's be honest, people were drawn to muscle cars because of their speed, so when it was reduced, their appeal waned. So this was another setback for the muscle car industry. The popularity of these fast cars increased along with the number of incidents involving them. The cost of owning a muscle car increased as a result of insurance companies having to raise rates to cover the dangers, and these higher premiums were just unfeasible for young drivers who made up a large portion of the muscle car population. Then came the oil crisis of 1973, which affected the entire planet. OPEC, an alliance of nations that produce oil, halted exports to those, including the U.S., that backed Israel during the Yom Kippur War. The price of gas shot up as a result. With the rising gas costs, muscle cars, which are renowned for having thirsty V8 engines, became unexpectedly unaffordable. People began searching for more fuel-efficient vehicles since they could not afford to fill up their muscle cars. So it makes sense that the muscle car obsession began to fade in the 1970s given the constraints placed on government power by regulations, the skyrocketing cost of gas, and the rise in insurance rates. But fear not, their legacy remains, serving as a constant reminder of a bygone era in which speed and the open road were paramount. Just as the muscle car era was coming to an end, the automobile industry was seeing a fresh surge of innovation. This time, cutting-edge technology, safety, emissions reduction, and fuel economy were highlighted. Car makers began using smaller, more efficient engines in place of large, thirsty V8s. Additionally, they started to rework the aerodynamics of their cars, giving them sleeker, more compact forms. Consider the Chevrolet Camaro from 1974. It was redesigned with lighter components such as aluminum bumpers, and it was replaced with a more sensible 350 cubic inch engine that consumed less fuel but was less potent than the 396 cubic inch V8. That's it for today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.